Go ahead with the question up.
I was saying it's interesting you say that the ships of Tarshish, because that in itself let us know that we're not going to be in it, that it's not going to be in Egypt, in Mizraim, because we'll need ships to come out of that. So that lets you know that we've been scattered all over the world.
Right.
You see, the same way they put us, because they took us in the slavery and brought us over here. We're going to be coming back on ships.
Yeah, exactly.
So that lets you know that we're not from here.
Exactly. But
well, you can go ahead. I'm gonna find something and maybe you can clear up something for me.
okay.
You want to finish this real quick?
Yes.
Ezekiel 39:29. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Yashra'al, saith Yahuah, thy Elohim.
Right. So we read that, we see what the Most High is saying He's going to do as far as His people. Now the emphasis is on the house of Israel. We're looking at that because when you look at the two houses that are split, Yahudah, even though it became even more wicked than the house of Israel, the scepter never departed from Yahudah. And so when we look at the setup in the scriptures, it's Judah who always remained out front or in the forefront. Because even when it reads about the fighting and the wars in the last days, or the battle, you know, it talks about Yahudah, Judah shall join in and fight, but it never mentions that Israel should join in and fight.
Right.
It says Yahudah or Judah shall join in and fight. Because that's the head tribe. Mashiyach comes within that, so that's why the kingship and everything stays within that tribe, within that house. So Israel, because of Israel's scattering, and see that's why one thing I like about the captivity as far as learning the history and all. Judah eventually went into what we call the four corners, but the vast majority of the house of Judah, they end up coming over to the western hemisphere. While the house of Israel were pretty much scattered everywhere. Not only were they scattered in the eastern hemisphere, but they were spread out across the western hemisphere as well. Because we noticed in 7 AD, when Mashiyach was teaching in Jerusalem, I mean, not 7 AD with the teaching, but during the time around 7 AD when Rome conquered Jerusalem, you ever notice when Mashiyach comes on the scene, you got the house of Judah, who he's mainly speaking to, but you got the remnants of the house of Israel also returning to Jerusalem.
Right.
So when Jerusalem was sacked, you had remnants of the house of Israel, who was also there with the house of Judah, who were carried away as well, who began to migrate along with the house of Judah westward. They ran into Africa, and they eventually migrated west. But the most of the house of Ephraim, or the house of Israel, mainly stayed in the eastern hemisphere. That's why when you go to off the eastern hemisphere all out through Africa, Asia Minor, these different places, you get Bet Manasseh, or the house of Manasseh, Bet Yahusha or Ephraim, all of these different countries whose names are after the house of Israel or Ephraim. Ephraim, Joseph, Manasseh, and all of them. So you see that their migration pattern, most of them stayed off the western part of Africa, at different places in Africa, going even up to Asia Minor, different places. So we see here how he's going to bring them back to their own land. He's going to esteem them in the sight or the eyes of many nations. So let's get that Yeshayahu. You got that, Yahuah? Starting at the 4th verse, 5th verse, and 6th verse. Isaiah 4, the 4th chapter, the 4th verse, 5th verse, 6th verse.
Isaiah 4, verse 4. When Yahuah shall wash away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning.
Stop right there. It said, when Yahuah had what? Washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion. How is he going to wash away the filth of the daughters of Zion?
We're gonna get that television show off there. What is it called? Housewives of the Land. It's got to go.
He's going to wash the filth of the daughters of Zion. He does that by bringing them out, separating them from the nation, and circumcising their heart. But are we going to pass through the waters again?
Oh, yeah.
James look like he's scared. Yes, we are. Okay then, go ahead and read, Yahuah.
Isaiah 4, verse 5. And Yahuah will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion, and upon her assemblies, a cloud and smoke by day, and a shine.
Stop right there. Let's go back. I knew that one would go ahead and protect it. He said, when he shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. How do you purge Jerusalem? So what does purge mean? To get rid of a clean. So how can he purge Jerusalem? You said what now, Cody? He's going to cast out those that are not supposed to be there. You ever notice how the Most High, he said he's going to call all nations where? Into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And Jehoshaphat means what?
The valley of decision.
A valley of the people, or Yahuah's judgment.
Right, judgment. Right.
Yahuah's judgment.
Right.
So, in order to purge a land, you have to shed the blood of those that shed Israel blood in the land. That's Torah.
That's right.
That's why it's important to know what's going on in the last days when these battles come about, when he's going to bring all nations into the valley of Yahuah's judgment, or Yehoshaphat. Because all nations have what? Have a hand in on the demise and the persecution of his people Israel. So therefore, all nations have to be judged. But he's bringing them to his land to judge them. Why? Because in order to purify the land, you have to shed the blood of those who shed Israel blood in the land. That's the only way to be cleansed. That's why he said he's going to what? He's going to do what with the spirit of judgment? Okay, read again.
The whole verse.
Yeah, the whole verse.
When Yahuah shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem.
And shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem. Go ahead.
From the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning.
By the spirit of judgment and the spirit of burning. Remember, he said the blood is going to be up to the horse's bridle.
Yep.
That's in Jerusalem. That's in his land. Because the land has to be purged. You can't just go into that land like that. Let's keep reading now.
So verse 5 and 6.
Yes.
Isaiah 4, verse 5 and 6. And Yahuah will create upon the dwelling place of Mount Zion, and upon her assemblies a cloud of smoke, and a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of flame of fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense, or defense. And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain.
Now, When we came out of Mizraim the first time, and we were in the wilderness, how were we led?
There were a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night.
Cloud by day, pillar of fire by night. So when we come out of these lands now and we enter back into the wilderness the second time, how are we going to be led? The same way. A cloud by day, a pillar of fire by night. The same, the reason says there's nothing new under the sun. That which has been shall be. That which shall be has already been. Now, when we see this is why I keep saying it's important to understand the timelines in which things happen. They come out of captivity, they go into the wilderness. And it's in the wilderness where they are led by what? Cloud by day, pillar of fire by night. So, what or who would this cloud by day be and pillar of fire by night be? It would be Mashiyach. It was him all the time. So, because a lot of times we don't understand the millennium and 1,000 years. You got so many people think that Yahusha, Mashiyach, will be here in the physical body, leading and guiding with them in the 1,000-year millennium. He leads this way. The cloud by day, fire by night. At the end of the millennium, when he returns in a physical body, what happens at that time? The New Jerusalem comes with him. That doesn't come till after the millennium. He's dealing with them, cloud by day, fire by night, and guess what will have happened by that time? Do y'all know the Ark of the Covenant will be unveiled or released?
Yeah, that's right.
It'll be unveiled. We will have possession of it again. And he said, and there will I dwell with you between the wings of what? The cherub. Because remember, the whole 1,000 years is about what? You getting rest. But the nations are going to do what? They're going to rebuild the kingdom that you will have here or be living in temporality. That's what, when we go into the wilderness, and that whole time period was with what? The whole purpose of Sukkot was to have a temporary dwelling until the New Jerusalem comes. If we parallel it today. Sukkot was to have a temporary dwelling. And so even though the nations say you're going to live in mansions that you didn't build,
Right.
have vineyards that you didn't grow, it's during that 1,000-year millennium. That's the whole purpose of the hand servants and the maid servants, the nursing mothers and all. When he said that queen shall be, and king shall be your nursing fathers and nursing mothers and all that, that's all in the millennium. This is when they're going to rebuild. This is when they're going to serve you.
Yep.
And they do all of that until what? The New Jerusalem comes with Mashiyach when he comes and reigns. But until that time, we're going to experience the same thing our forefathers experienced with the cloud by day and the fire by night. And not only they said this cloud shall be a cover, it's going to protect you what? From the heat. It's going to be a storm shelter. It's going to be everything, a defense from you, for you.
That's what the cover.
It's going to be a defense. But it's going to do all of that until a certain time period. And once Mashiyach comes on the scene, it won't be a need for that. But until that time, that's what it is.
During that time, it also shows us the bride submitting, because we might have to solely rely on him taking care of us.
Exactly.
Submission.
And that's a good point you brought in there, Cote. Cote Carral said it shows us at that time that the bride is what? Is submitting. The bride is submitting because now she has to do what? Solely depend on her Ish or her husband for everything. her protection, her shelter, her food, her clothing, everything. And another thing to take note, I hope no one is under the impression that we're going to be out in the wilderness all, in our land all raggedy and looking ran over and stuff. It doesn't work like that. When we leave these lands, we leave so prosperous. And not only that, this time, when we go back into our land, we're going to be living, I mean, when you look at cribs and stuff, this stuff don't even compare to what the Most High has in store for his people. And I'm not even talking about the New Jerusalem when it comes. I'm talking about before then. Y'all ever notice how when you look at society today, and when you look at us as a people, it looks like we got all the low-level jobs. It looks like we got all service jobs, and we dominate the service industry or service worker level of jobs. And we do. But you look at the other nations, the East Indians, the Chinese, the Europeans, they got all of that high-tech jobs, the architectural jobs, engineering and all that stuff. They dominate those fields. Why do y'all think they dominate them so?
They're in charge. The people in charge.
Not so much because they're in charge. The Most High prepared them for something.
They won't be built.
They utilize them for themselves here. But the whole purpose of it is for when they have to serve you.
Oh, wow.
Remember he said he's going to give you rest from your labor, your sorrows, your fear, the hard bondage you made to serve. But now it's going to be time for them to use those skills, hone those skills, and those trades and stuff they got. Remember he said you're going to live in mansions that you didn't build. You're going to eat the grapes of vineyards that you didn't grow. Because somebody's going to be doing these things for you. It's a reason why he let them get all this learning. Because it was never to be his will that you usurp or overtake them in these fields. Especially in their kingdom, because they're going to use these skills handily. Because guess what? Who built the mansions that their forefathers lived in?
We did.
Who grew the vineyards that their forefathers ate the grapes of?
We did.
And it was all because a curse was placed on us for our disobedience. But you remember when Aki Shlomo read in Deuteronomy 30 chapter, and he got to that 7th verse, what he said? And the curses that I had on you, he's going to take these curses and do what? Put them on your enemy and those that hate you. Now all of a sudden, you see the table turn. Now other people are going to experience what it was like, or what it is like to walk in your shoes. And that's going to be a bitter pill to swallow. Now, you're talking about a real bitter pill to swallow. Because not only that, he said he's going to give them double of what you went through. If anybody go back and study our history and see what we have endured, it's almost literally and virtually impossible to endure that. Double of what we've been through or our people have been through. But he has to humble and break these people. He has to humble them and break them. And it doesn't even have to get to that. Because he said if they would give back what they have taken from our people, he said he wouldn't even punish them.
Can't give it back though, because they killed people.
But you're still here. They can give it back.
No, I said you can't give back the life of somebody you take.
No, right. You can't give that back, but everything that we've been robbed of, they can give it back. Matter of fact, they've even had discussions at the UN and the United Nations about giving back. But it always comes to that one question, how? Because they can't. And Yahuah know they can't give it back. From what they have obtained and sustained from the hard labor that we did for them for free, all of the stolen inventions and patents and stuff, things that we invented and they got rich off of it. And it's not just in America, it's all over the earth.
I heard somebody say, and that's not including patents and all that stuff, but I heard somebody say just for what we want to do with slavery would be to the tune of like $14, $15 trillion or something like that, even more.
It would be even more.
Yeah.
They can't bear
America
it.
would be broke
Yep.
just for their part in it. That's just America that 14, 15 trillion.
America would be broke if we just start spending money and start spending money amongst ourselves in our own community. What they say, we'd be like the 12th richest nation on earth if we put our money into ourselves. That's how Black Wall Street was so, what's the word I want to use, so profitable. And that's why they were so prosperous. Because they kept their money amongst their people in their community. Y'all familiar with Black Wall Street? And so what you see is, when you keep the money amongst yourself in your community, their money is circulating in their community, exchange hands in their community like 30-something times before it went out to others. Do you know how prosperous and rich that makes everybody? But for some reason, we can't grasp that concept. It hasn't changed. We've gotten into this thing where we don't trust each other and don't think that we can produce quality merchandise and stuff for ourselves and our people. And that's sad. And so what we see here is he said, I'm going to bring these curses that I had on you, I'm going to take them and put them on your, what? Enemies, those that hate you. So you see, when you go in the land, how you have the nations now who what? Are subjected to you, they're subdued, and they what? Remember the Most High said they will no longer serve themselves of you? Now, they're going to be your servants. And that is always supposed to be like that. That was always supposed to be that way. He always wanted you over the nations. And that's not a bad thing. I don't care who we are in life. We always have to have somebody that's ruling over us. But the thing with the nation of Yashra'al is, he wants them to do it righteously.
Right, that's good. That's good.
Because the other nations, they don't know how to rule righteously. Because they don't know what righteousness is. Can't you look around the world today? I don't care what nation you look at, which one is ruling righteously. And that's why he got to beat the hell out of them. And get them back in the right place. He going to beat the brakes off of them. Did you say he going to beat them in the powder?
Yeah.
That's a beat. That's somebody beat you in the powder. Anytime somebody beat you in the powder, that's a beat. And then he's going to what? Put you over them, because by that time you will have learned how to deal righteously. Not only with one another, but you will know how to teach the other nations righteously. So, let's go. You read the last verse, Yahuah?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. About Yahuah, get Isaiah, Yahusha 43, verse 1 through verse 9, 10. Let's just start at verse 1 and read.
Yashra'al
And I'm figuring to close it out in about 10 minutes, I promise.
verse 1. But now thus saith Yahuah, that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee, I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. When thou pass through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, thou shalt not overflow thee.
They shall not.
Overflow thee when thou walkest through the fire. Thou shalt not be burnt, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. For
Is this not what happened the first time? When they came out of Mizraim? Didn't I just say you're going to have to pass through the waters again? Remember, there's nothing new under the sun. That which shall be has happened, that which hath happened shall be. Go ahead, Aki.
For I am Yahuah thy Elohim, the Chadasha one, or set apart one of Israel, thy Savior. I gave Egypt for thy ransom, Ethiopia and Syria for thee. Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. And therefore will I give men for thee, and people for thy life. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east, and gather thee from the west. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my esteem. I have formed him, yeah, I have made him.
Stop right there. So he said he's going to call his people, his sons and his daughters from where? The four corners, the north, south, east, and the west. And he said he's Yahuah their Elohim. He has created them. Go ahead. 47. Verse 7.
Verse 7. Even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my esteem. I have formed him, yeah, I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. Let all nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled, who among them be declared this, and shall show us former things. Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, it is true. You are my witnesses, say Yahuah, and my servant who I have chosen, that you may know and believe me and understand that I am He. Before me there is no Elohim.
Stop right there. He said,
There was no Elohim, sorry. There was no Elohim.
He said, ye are my witnesses, said Yahuah, and my servants whom I have chosen. And that verse before, he said, let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who amongst them can declare this, and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses. What's going on right here? Go ahead, so if you can. You seem mighty happy there.
Oh, man.
What's on your mind?
Oh, no, I'm just taking in what's going on here.
Okay then. So, he said, let them bring forth their witnesses. He said, who can declare? Okay, but then he said, you are my witnesses. Who are when he said, you are my witnesses? Who is he speaking of? Israel. How many witnesses make up Israel? Two. How many witnesses went before Pharaoh?
2.
Who were they? Aaron and Moshe. So, what was the whole purpose of Aaron and Moshe going before Pharaoh? I should say Moshe and Aaron. What was that purpose of going before Pharaoh? They went before the Pharaoh and asked or requested that their people be, the people Yahuah be let go. So what they were doing is what? They were making a request or asking somebody at the same time. They were giving Pharaoh a what?